This is the third video I'm making about cancer, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Insights and Ideas, my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and thank you so much for stopping by. I'm holding a bottle of water because hydration is super important, whether you're fighting an illness or whether you're staying to your ideal health. You know, America's a funny country. We pride ourselves on health and fitness and longevity, and we do whatever it takes. And we spend tons of money to remain that way. And what could be a simpler means to that end than hydration? All right, let's dive into it. Cancer. I have something called stage one non-metastasized prostate cancer. That's a lot of buzzwords, but if you're on this channel, you probably know what all that means. If you don't, just reach out to me privately and I'll help answer your questions and direct you to whatever resources you need to break that down. I want to talk about a buzzword in the prostate cancer language, BPH, benign prostate hypoenlargement. I've had this condition for approximately 10 years, maybe longer. As the term sounds, it involves an enlargement of the prostate, but it's not a cancerous enlargement, it's benign. So I was fooled and hoodwinked by this terminology for quite some time. I heard the phrase benign, and so I disregarded it, and I declined my doctor's invitation to go see a urologist and consult with a specialist about treatment for BPH, even though I did have symptoms, but I minimized the symptoms because that's just who I am. I always say this. This is now my third video where I want to say ladies leave the room. And of course I don't want the ladies to leave the room, but ladies and women don't have prostates, you know. And we need to be frank and honest and blunt about some of this stuff. I think sometimes polite society, in today's world at least, sort of brushes a lot of important distinctions under the rug. So, men, do you urinate frequently? Do you watch those annoying commercials for how to deal with excessive frequent urination? Does it embarrass you? Does it frustrate you? Do you talk about it with your doctor? I didn't for over 10 years. And now, lo and behold, my BPH has evolved to where it is the opposite of benign. So it really comes down to semantics because for years, doctors told me I had something, but I didn't need to worry about it because it was benign. The problem with that mindset is once you have the condition, it's very well to say I have the benign version of the condition, but that also implies that you may at a later point have the malignant version of it. Well, malignancy is cancer. And so it became shockingly uh, fast to migrate from the benign version of the prostate concern to the malignant one, which is to say that in hindsight, I should have taken this more seriously 10 years ago. Had I done so, perhaps I wouldn't be battling stage one non metastasized cancer. That all make sense? I think I said it really clearly. I'm not going to say it again. I don't like to belabor the point. I've been blessed by your participation now for approximately 5 minutes on this video. So if you've digested everything you need to, then you can leave. You can go on your surfing journey. And like I always tell people, surf safe. But if you want to stay, I want to have another conversation about an amazing book, which is over here on my shelf. You can't see it because that's a virtual screen of a law library. It's not my home library. Um, and so I want to talk about awakenings. A friend gifted me a book called Awakenings, and it's one of these books that is intended to be read one day at a time, one chapter at a time. And there's 365 chapters, one for each day of the year. And when you get to the end, you just start all over again the following year. The friend who shall remain nameless, although I know who he is, and shout out to him, has been enjoying this book for over 20 years. And I can see why, because each day is a deep dive into something related. I'm looking for it. I just don't see it on my shelf because I grabbed it earlier today to read it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Make it visible to the camera. Wow, so hard to make it. The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. And it's in the 20th anniversary edition now, so it's been out for quite a while, and it was a bestseller. And having the life you want by being present to the life you have, that's quite a challenge. And the life that I have obviously includes much, much more than cancer. Who would want their life to be defined by a disease of any variety, be it uh, lupus, be it diabetes, be it etc. No, a person is much more than their disease. And even the term itself, dis-ease, implies the opposite, which is ease. So we all are entitled to some comfort and some ease and some relaxation, even, or I should say, especially folks who are fighting cancer. Because look, I was a fully formed person long before I got my diagnosis. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a young person, a child, dealing with the life threatening effects of cancer, because then suddenly they are, whoops, sorry about that wire. Sorry about the headset today. I know it looks goofy and very old school, but it gives me more privacy and I'm able to talk in a more natural, soft voice. um, I'm a fighter on all sorts of different levels. I'm a compassionate fighter as an attorney in court and with clients. And I like to think of myself as a fighter in my garden when I'm weeding. And I'm a fighter if I go to the gym and I swim laps in the pool. I'm fighting to keep track of how many laps I've swam, and to stay focused so that I achieve my goal for my workout. That's a kind of a fight. I fight traffic all the time. I'm a very good driver. I'm not unduly aggressive, but I am a fighter in the sense that I obey the law and I fight to stay in the speed limit and I fight the impulse to go over the speed limit. Um, I fight when I prepare my 3.5 or 4.5 meals a day to have a good balance of protein, fat, carbohydrate, and fiber, and all the other fun stuff. I fight to get enough sleep every night. I'm a fighter. That's just my life. That's just who I am. That's how I rock and roll. So, coming back to the cancer theme, I don't want to be like too much of a heavy-handed person here, but the inspiration to start this YouTube channel and this page on my Facebook was that I have a lot of insights. I've been on this planet 64 and a half years. That means I'm going to tell you how many times um, the sun has risen and set in my life. 365 times 64 times 5. Did I do this right? If I did this right, I have enjoyed 23,542.5 days, according to my calculator here. It's a lot of not a lot of days. That's a lot of sunsets, sunrises. Of course, I was a baby and I was a child. I was probably too busy to watch half of them. But as I age, I do try and appreciate the sunrise and the sunset. We live in an area where we can see the sunrise and we can see the sunset every day, and it's quite a thrill. So I think that that gives me a lot to talk about, a lot of potential insights. Um, while I'm on the subject, I also am a published writer. And even though my law career is something that I focus on now, in the past, I put that on the back burner and I focused on my writing. I wrote a novel, which I had to self-publish because no commercial book publisher saw fit to give me a contract. And I also wrote a chapbook of poetry. And so you can look me up under Carl David Birman or my middle name, David Berman, in the case of my novel. Maybe I'll talk about that in a future episode of Insights and Ideas. The purpose of this channel is not just cancer, cancer, cancer. Again, I'm a fighter on all different kinds of levels. Last September, you will go back, if you go back in the archives on the YouTube, you will find a lengthy interview with a colleague who is a fighter on many different levels, talking about suicide. Because September, which is only 2 months away, is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And then October is National Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. And then April, which we recently enjoyed, is National Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. And then you want to move on. May, I think, is foster care awareness and appreciation. And June is adoption month. So we just have so many months to go through and just sort of slice and dice and figure out the relationships. That gives me plenty to talk about for the rest of my natural days. And if I've made it to 23,542.5 days, according to this calculator here, and I'm only 64, and I aim to reach a ripe old age of 120, I've got another 20,000 days to go on planet Earth. I have no plan to leave the Earth, even if given the opportunity. So I'm pretty down with all that and pretty excited. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please click the like and subscribe buttons if you found me on YouTube. Please continue to follow my videos and engage with me by uh, staying on the video, by interacting with the video, which means clicking a link. Um, it's all good. It's all beautiful. It's all amazing. And surf safe. Cheers. Show you my water bottle again. Cheers.